Today is the 7th of April, and we're still going through the pandemic, as we know. We are still dealing with all of the health risks and dangers out there, and we're also dealing with all of the financial drama that is going on. So we're still in this, and this is not only in the Bahamas or only in the Caribbean, but it's around the world, and we're all sharing this very bad process. But nevertheless, there is hope once we plan, and we just need to make sure that we plan accordingly. So, what do we have here? We have our healthcare workers out there who are working on our behalf. So, we just want to thank them for working on our behalf, for, giving their 100%, even though some of them may be scared or to contract something to bring home to their families. We're very grateful to healthcare workers, all of them, from the doctors, nurses, janitors, porters. We are just very grateful to all healthcare workers. Our condolences go out to all of those who lost loved ones during this time. Losing a loved one is never easy. It is one of the hardest things you can ever have to go through, and our hearts cry out for you as you mourn during this time. Our prayers are with you. We also feel badly for those who lost their jobs during this time, or just temporarily laid off. Our hearts go out to you. It's not an easy road. We still have to feed our children and pay our bills and all of that, and so it's definitely not easy, with hotels closing and restaurants being closed and all the other outlets. So we feel for you. We also, for those entrepreneurs who are not bringing in the money the way they used to, our hearts go out to you. For those of you who had to lay workers off, or just close your shops until this thing passes, we feel for you, and we empathize. So please know that you're in our prayers, and we will get through this together. Now, a lot has been going on. Again, as always, I encourage you to make sure that you stay up to date with everything that has been going on. Make sure that you read your local newspapers, you look at all of the websites associated with your governments, you listen to the health professionals, you listen to the science guys. I mean, some people are out there saying that, they know they're social scientists, etc. Right now, we need actual scientists. We need to listen to actual scientists. So please make sure that you stay connected. Yes, browse your social media and see what's going on. And I'm very happy to have you join me today. But please make sure that you carve out a few minutes to look at your newspapers, look at your websites, and see what is going on. Stay abreast. Do not take, do not take anything for granted, or do not take someone else's opinion or things that they share with you, but you research it. And also, I just want to remind us that not everything out there is good information, or information that is good for you. So even you see a lot of WhatsApp messages come in, you see a lot of doom and gloom, and we're heading into recession, and we're heading into depression. And while those are real possibilities, I don't want us to boggle down into the whole, we're going to go up in smokes, and this is it for us. Let us have some faith in our financial people. the people who are responsible for the stimulus packages, the people who are responsible for the various economies. Let us have some faith that they know what they're doing and they'll be able to help the economies to rebound very fast, and that we will not head down the line of a recession or a depression. So let us still have hope that this will pan out, and we will get back to even better than we were. Now, what we'll be dealing with today is just keeping your eyes out from a financial aspect, making sure that while you protect yourselves, hi guys, while you protect yourselves health wise, while you wear your mask or whatever you choose to wear based on what the health guys are saying, that you do not neglect your financial life, that you not do not neglect your planning aspect. So that book that you thought of, that you didn't have the time to write, and you finally get the time to write that book, please start writing your book. That job, that business idea that you've had for years, but you're too scared to either conceptualize what the thought and bring it into reality. For all of those things, I want you to take this time to really start that planning. Even though some of us, we're fortunate to be working from home, if you're in that category, use your lunch breaks, use the downtime to write the book that you always wanted to write. Use the time to start the blog that you always wanted to start, because each of us, think about it, we just didn't come on the earth for nothing. Each of us has a purpose. And if we can help each other to find that purpose, that is what this life is all about. So it is enough in the world to share. There's enough to go around. We don't have to be jealous of each other. I know a thing or two in finance. You may know a thing or two in baking, in whatever else. Let us help each other and really push each other to achieve those things that we never thought we had the time to achieve. All right. So while we are down and while we think we're out, we're not really out. It's just a downtime to help us to get back up and get back up very strong. And in that vein, let us start planning. Let us don't give up. Let us don't give in to those negative words that we see. Oh, there is only going to be gloom. Let us get into really planning for a financial future, whether you have $100 in your bank account, whether you have $100,000 in your bank account, or you don't have any dollars in your bank account at all at this moment. You're still in a good position because we're all starting at ground zero. This is the time where the relay has been reset, and we're in the process where we need to start running this race and running it together and helping each other out. Now, again, you can look at my videos on YouTube, Fees Financial or Felicia Boyle Bazard. Please subscribe. Look at all the videos that we've dealt with so far, from dealing with where you stood prior to the pandemic to exactly what your budget was prior to the pandemic and what happened since the pandemic hit your shores. Did you lose your job? Did your income reduce? Is there a possibility that your income will reduce? Look at all of that. And right now you should have a budget in front of you as to what the realistic thing is and where you stand right now. So I encourage you to get that out, and as we start brainstorming. So again, I showed you my heat map. Actually, it is for the Bahamas, but by all means, do the same thing for yourself. If you're in the US or you're some part of the Caribbean, or some part of the world, do that for yourself. Make sure that it looks like this. So let's see. So as you can see, so it's just tracking the various areas for your country, what exactly they're offering. And if they're not offering anything that you're aware of, go into this category where it's what you can do for yourself. But by all means, track, speak with your member of parliament, speak with your congressman, congresswoman, and see exactly how you benefit from whatever stimulus package they have. So if we go into, let's start with something that is common throughout the world. We would have, like I said, we would have our budget right now and we would know where we stand. So again, my advice is that you do not get into more debt if you can avoid it. Obviously, there are times where we cannot avoid getting more debt, especially during this time where we may need to use our credit cards or we may need to use our whatever it is. Let us, or we need to consolidate. Let us try to bring our debt to income ratio lower, because we don't want to put ourselves in a more financial jam at this time. So if again, look at your budget, see what you can do for you. But I want to deal with how we can increase our income. We know that at this time, income is very hard to realistically think about increasing, because there's so many things that is going on. We have jobs going out, business going out. So you may think to yourself, Felicia, this is crazy. What you talking about increasing income when who's there to buy? Where are the buyers? Where are the sellers? You're the seller. There's so many sellers, but where are the buyers? Well, not everything is out. Let us think about, first of all, let us think about our kitchen gardens. Yesterday I went outside and I found 3 tomatoes on my tree, on my tomato tree. And I was very happy to be able to pick tomatoes. But I realized that I'm not doing too good in that farming department, even though I am technically from a farming background. I'm doing horribly in this regard. But we all need to embark on serious farming in whatever area we have in our yards. So that's the first thing that is going to decrease our expenses for food, for example. So if we can farm our tomatoes or a seasoning or whatever we have, we can really make a difference. So think about getting that little kitchen garden started at this time, even though you may not have all the right soil and the places may be closed. See what you have and try to get started. And that brings me to a new thing that I saw, and that it's actually for the Ministry of Agriculture, but it's not specifically on my heat map. But the Ministry of Agriculture is actually giving out, or there's a set amount of monies for farmers. So I want us to start to take advantage of that. If you're into farming, or if you have that farming idea, or you know someone who's into farming, make sure you tell them about the package that came about, and let them start researching with the direct ministry and see how they can get started. So that's one aspect, huh? But like I was saying, make sure that you get your book started. You may not be able to realize the income from your book now, but in time, the world is not gonna just go into thin air at this point, unless the maker is ready. But it is, the financial systems basically are set on a cycle. So I can almost be 100% sure that it will rebound. And at that point, so you may have that income in holding. But if you get your book started now and you start mapping out how you get it to the masses, I can tell you that that will bring you income as soon as can be. Whatever your talent is, you need to sharpen that. So if you're a singer, this is the time to start doing warm-ups, etc. Make sure that you start planning for that CD. Make sure you start writing the songs to get started in that arena. Do whatever you need to get that income, and you can even call it deferred, because at some point you will be able to tap into the income that you're putting aside right now. But if you only focus on, I'm going to only deal with social media postings right now, and I'm only going to deal with reading whatever, and until this passes, you may be missing the mark. You're probably missing the whole opportunity to get started now. And so when the economy rebounds, you'll be behind the eight ball. So I encourage you to please get your craft started. I see a lot of posts going around about the purpose-driven life. And while our purpose, we need to understand our purpose and come into full alignment with our purpose. It is one thing to have it on our status, and another thing to really start seeking out exactly what our purpose is and how we get to that point where we can realize income for our purpose. There's some aspects of purpose where you give for free as donations, etc. But if you are a religious person, you would see that the good book says that your purpose makes room for you. Your purpose provides for you. So what that means is you need to start really taking your gifts and talents and seeing how you can monetize it as soon as we rebound, or even at this time. During this time, there's still opportunities. There are food stores which are open at this time. How can you lend your services to food stores even now? Maybe you want to start calling around to see, even if you're in marketing, if you're in accounting, if you're a cashier, you can call around the food stores, because they will not go out of business right now. So align yourselves with things that can bring you income during this time. And obviously, if you do not need the income, by all means, it is what it is. You're not losing anything per se. But okay, so if we dealt with the central bank again, and I'm just going to quickly go through. What is your central bank doing for you? Is there a monetary policy switch? Are they looking to decrease the prime rate? Because as soon as you see prime rate decreases, you need to approach your banks so that they can decrease the interest on your loans and your mortgages. So keep your eyes on central bank very closely. We see that central bank offered deferred mortgages and different, even though they stipulated that banks in general in the Bahamas gave their customers a 3 months deferred period. Like I said, I'm not a fan of deferred, but if you cannot help it, take it up. But also various banks have different things where you can negotiate. So take the time to really get into that. The other thing we dealt with was national insurance. Each of us is entitled to national insurance once you've been paying, obviously, or you've been contributing. And this is the same for social services, social security, etc. in the States. So you tap into that area where you know that you've been contributing and see how they can help you. As it stands right now, we see that national insurance is giving the unemployment benefit. So whether you are, you've been completely out of a job, you're self-employed, whether you've been reduced to say 40% by your employer, approach national insurance, approach your Roxanne, approach all of those entities and tap into them. The worst that can happen is that they say, no, you're not entitled to that. No, you cannot get that. But right now, you should have a sheet of paper or even an Excel sheet listing all those things that you can tap into. Even if you have been fortunate enough to keep your job and you're working from home, I am sure you've been affected in some regard. Each of us has been touched by this pandemic. So take up what is rightfully yours, but you will not know what is rightfully yours if you do not put the research into it. Again, what has your government offered? What are they offering? When is it to come? So therefore, get into unemployment benefit, get into your self-employed benefit for all of those self-employed people, whether you're into selling hair or doing nails, or you're a beautician of some sort, or you are you do people's you take their dogs walking or whatever, and you're a dog walker or whatever you are. Now is the time to really do not say, oh my goodness, I don't have the income. There are places that you can go. And if you're in the Bahamas, make sure that you tap into national insurance. They have been mandated to assist people wherever you are. Make sure that you tap into your national insurance, like whether that's in the US, whether that's in the Caribbean. Tap into it. Make your list. How you can get it. You can get at least $200 for the week. What can $200 can do a whole lot of things at this time. You can buy your groceries, you can help pay your bills, you can, help take care of the kids, whatever the case is. So do not neglect tapping into your national insurance. Now, moving on to if you're a small business. If you're a small business owner, research in your country what is there to assist your small business. Let me share this with you. If you're a small to medium-sized entity, the government wants to help you survive. Why? When an economy has a small, their small to medium-sized businesses shrink, that taps into inflation. So their monies devalue. Their economy is not doing what it needs to, because those small to medium-sized businesses are the ones who employ the majority of people in their country. So don't take it for granted that you didn't hear anything. Ask your governmental representative how you can get help. So for those persons who are self-employed, or make sure that you tap into NIB, but also make sure that you tap into your small business development center. So if you're making in the Bahamas, if you're making under 3 million, you can get what is called so whether it's 100,000, 50,000, whatever, 10,000 up to under 3 million, you're entitled to a business continuity loan. And that is, you can find more information at accelerators.org. And what I read is that you can also benefit from the payroll grant. So yes, you take the whole loan. So people say, oh my God, Felicia, you encouraging me to take a loan at this time? Yes. A loan that is not payable for now. There's no deferred interest, but it's put on the start date for repayment. I think it's 5 months in or 4 months in. And you're able to pay your utilities. You're able to pay your staff because it's even though NIB is offering benefits, it's very time consuming to get there. So if you can keep your employees on your payroll, do not do what these big businesses are doing, please, where they're just laying people off. Make sure that if you can keep your employees, at least keep them on 40%. People have to eat, man. People have to provide for their families. I mean, some of us, we're living paycheck to paycheck, and if you let us go, I saw an article in a newspaper where this big retailer was saying that it's the hardest thing they had to do to let their employees go. And my thing is, if the government is giving these business loans and deferrals and all of that, why did you have to let them go again? Is it that you just didn't want to take the time to see what is available for you, or you really don't care about your employees? But that's something else. So make sure you tap into that. And then what is not very explicit is that you get the payroll grant. So yes, you take the loan, but ask the SBDC, so how can I access the payroll grant that the government announced? How can I get that grant that is associated with the business continuity loan? Then so make sure you ask those questions. How can I tap into the payroll grant? Now get into, obviously there are other, at this time you can still get that small business started, the business that you have the business plan for, by approaching SBDC to fund your idea, your business idea. Do not sit back and wait until this is over, because who knows, your guess is as good as mine that this will be over soon. But what I can tell you, it will be over, but I don't know when. And you don't want to be caught behind the 8 ball. So get your business plan funded, get started now. Now getting into what the Ministry of Finance is offering. For those businesses who are fortunate enough to be making over 3 million, there is help for you also. So I shared on my page about 12 o'clock this morning, or 1 o'clock, about the 3 million, if you're making over 3 million, how that can benefit you. And even if you personally don't have that business, but you work for such a company who you assume that they make over 3 million, you might want to clue them in on this, that they don't need to cut your salary. They don't need to let you go. They can tap into what the government has allocated for them in the form of a it's called tax deferral and tax credit for payroll support. So imagine not having to pay VAT, but using the VAT money to assist you, they have I think they specified a timeline. So even if you're not making income now, you can put that to the next period. So research that, have your employers research that, or if you own that type of business, research it. If you're sitting in the Caribbean somewhere separate and apart from the Bahamas, or you're sitting in Canada, or you're sitting in the US or Switzerland or Italy, wherever, each of these countries has to really formulate their stimulus package, and it's in their best interest. And like I said when we first started, I have faith in the various financial systems that they're not going to allow their systems to crash and burn. So all we need to do is tap into what they have for us. Now let us get into the other thing. Is maybe we already saw in the US where there is an extension on, we know this is tax filing month. There's been an extension on tax filing. I am looking forward to that kind of extension here in the Bahamas. Hopefully we get that extension, because, some of us cannot access our offices to get the necessary documents. So that is something that we probably want to nudge our MPs on. And if we're in the Caribbean, somewhere else in the Caribbean, we also want to look out for that, some sort of VAT or tax extension. Now, the other thing is, if you're sitting in the Family Islands, I saw that there was 1.8 million assigned for Family Island emergency order execution, whatever that means. Make sure that you contact your island administrators to see how best you can tap into this. Now, my favorite part, and I've been fighting with this for a couple days, and I even stayed away from my live sessions because I was waiting to see if something comes out of the insurance premium situation. And I shake my head because, there's so many questions in this regard. We know that insurance, we all benefit from the insurance programs, but we were told that our insurance premiums would be suspended for for however long the emergency order lasts, and then 60 days after that. Now, again, I am no lawyer, but a suspension, and you know my thoughts on this. So that still has not been clarified based on what I saw. What my insurance company told me was, listen, and what I've also seen by the insurance body and the powers that be in that regard is that um, you need to, if you can pay it, you need to pay it. You need to stay up to date because we need that, and rightfully so. They're a business, and I empathize with them, but there really needs to be clarification in this regard. But what I would say, if you can pay your insurance at this time, pay it. Though if it turns out that I'm right, then obviously a refund is due to you. If it is that it's deferred, really deferred, and then you would just have to pay. You just have to leave the monies that you paid out. However, if you cannot afford your insurance to pay your insurance premium at this time, then no one can take your policy away because there's a signed document from the Prime Minister that says it's suspended and they're liable for paying if you need to access your insurance. So make sure that you know your rights. Even if you can pay, pay it. If you cannot pay, don't feel badly because at the end of the day, the Prime Minister said it. Now, again, we said that business license fees have been extended, and also the payment of real property tax until the 15th of April. So if you're in that category, please be aware. Now, if we get to the last category that we first started with, which is self-adjustments, each of us needs to be self-disciplined. Now, how we like to say, okay, we want to get this business started. We want to get this idea funded. But we cannot be good employees. How can we be a good business owner if we're not a good employee? So this is something that we really need to work on developing, self-discipline. What that means is if your company has you working from home and you are getting paid a salary, it is in your best interest to be disciplined. Do the work in the assigned time that you've agreed to. Make sure that you're productive. Make sure that you do not cheat the system. Act as if you're on the job and your supervisor is watching. Because if you are disciplined, it makes room for you. It makes room for you to be that entrepreneur that you've dreamt about. It makes room for you to achieve your purpose. So develop that sense of discipline even during this time. Do not allow yourselves to be too consumed, and I'm speaking to myself as well. I love social media, but it consumes a lot of our time. I see Janine says late fees that have already been applied for business license. How does the business handle that? Fees, they gotta reverse that, sweetie. They gotta reverse it. So be that feisty business person you are and hit them up. Reverse it right away to your question. But going back to discipline, We need to be very disciplined. That's the only way to really truly achieve our goals. You know, I love to reference my brother Bob. Brother Bob was just wise beyond his years, and he died even when he was younger than me when he died, and he said, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. He said that, even it's only us who can free ourselves. No one else can free you from that mental slavery that you're in. You have to free yourself. If you want to talk about being free financially, if you want to talk about achieving all those business ideas and business goals and coming into living that purposeful life, and not only wearing the banner on your social media profile, but really wearing the banner on a daily basis, you have to develop self discipline. You have to get to the point where you say, listen, I need to stay up until 3 o'clock to get this project done, or to continue writing my book, or to start that hairdressing idea that I had, or that great innovative idea that I had. I'm going to stay up and I'm going to put my plan together. I'm going to start. I'm never going to say I'm bored again, because there's so much that I have to do during this downtime. So it calls for discipline. It calls for a certain level of intrinsic motivation. And that's a big word for just meaning that fire that burns deep inside, that tells you that you're going to be successful and you're going to achieve things and you're going to get to that next level despite pandemic, despite the threat of depression and recession and all that stuff. You're going to get to that next level. That burning desire to be, thank you, Pastor Kevin Moss, that burning desire to get to that next level is where we need to be at this point. We need to discipline ourselves. We need to make a plan. So every day when you wake up, and this is just a tip that I want to share, before I go to sleep at nights, or the first thing when I wake up, I would make a plan, like a plan with boxes and time associated with it. Well, I'm going to deal with the baby from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'm going to deal with writing my book from this to that. I'm going to start my working from home from this to that. I'm going to cook from this to that. It doesn't always run that way. Obviously, we know things come and pop it out, but it helps us to stay on track. It helps us to realign our mind when those negativity come to us. That whole, oh, it's going to be a crash. Oh, we're never going to do better. You know that you have that plan in place and you're able to take yourself to that next level. So it's not too late to start right now. It's not too late to make today your first day where you really start aligning yourselves, where you really start disciplining yourself, where you really start planning for the future financially, even if you don't see it now. If you're religious the way I am, you would know that faith are the things that you cannot see. The things that you can only envision and you wish for and you hope for. That's faith. You can't tangibly touch it, but you see the manifestation. So if you have whatever religion you are, whatever you believe in, just know that you can achieve whatever you set your mind to if you put the right plans in place and if you put the right discipline in place. And just how you discipline your children, you discipline yourself. I cannot have that hour of social media because I did not achieve my goals today. I did not meet my set plan. But I'm about to leave, but I want to leave you with those nuggets. And I want you to think about them. I want you to formulate your plan. I want you to get started. I want you to be very successful. My hope for all of my friends is that you surpass everybody's expectation of you, that you achieve so much in life that it blows your haters to the ground. Don't go cussing out. And Janine says, scheduling is very important. Yes, 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 Roxanne. Don't go about worrying about people who hate you or who dislike you or who think who the heck she thinks she is or who she thinks she is, or she just, who's this foreign girl, or who's this person who Johnny come late. Don't let them get to you. You prove yourself. You do what you gotta do. You silently get your stuff done, and don't let your past be a hindrance to where you're going, because each of us did some crazy things, or we were just caught up in some things. But don't let that affect you. And I want you to make sure that you get to that next level, because that's where we're going. I don't want to go there alone. I'm going. I am going. I haven't even scratched the surface to what I'm setting out to achieve. But I don't want to go alone. I want you to come with me. I want you to take the time to get to achieve more that I'm achieving. And I'm going to achieve a hell lot of things, heaven lot of things, not hell. But I'm going to achieve so many things, but I don't want to do it alone. So will you join me? Will you make up in your mind to really get this thing and get your life in order and get your finances in order, and let us achieve greatness, and let us really wear the banner of purpose-driven life, not only on our social media profile picture, but every day as we walk, every day when the curtains are closed, when no one's watching, when it's only us. Let us stop doing those things which are detrimental to us and not uplifting, but let us live a life of peace, supportiveness, and joy. And with that comes success. All right, so I will see you soon. I will see you. Tomorrow is what? Tomorrow is Wednesday. I am going to see you on Thursday. And Thursday, yes, we're gonna skim over what's going on, because some new things may come out, but we'll also go on to dealing with customer service. Customer service, I want us to tap into customer service, because even at this time, we cannot be bad hosts, and we cannot be bad business owners, because we need to really be empathetic with people and sympathetic. We need to show love and share. We need to get into that whole fellowship and what we've been called for, and not just black and white and gold and silver and Indian and black and all the other races and Latinos and whatever. We're humans, and we see the pandemic has shown us that it does not discriminate. It does not build walls. It does not, nothing, even a wall can't shut it out. It is quite neutral and quite open. All right. So thank you very much. And I will see you on Thursday. Take care. And I love you very much.